Hi everyone, this is Sam from SaberiSixRealEstate as well as Remax Realtron Realty Inc. Here with a podcast with a colleague of mine, Ali from
The home investors team.
exactly.
And
So
broker with Remax.
of course, didn't you tell me not to mention that?
Just Remax. I just put in that out there. But
Okay.
self-promotion is what it's all about.
I believe we talked about the same exact thing like 2 episodes ago, where I said Remax. You said, "Why do you say Remax?" I'm
No,
like,
you say Remax, Realtron, Realty Inc. and blah, blah, blah.
yeah.
I just say Remax because nobody really knows what specific brokerage we're from.
Yeah.
Most people just know that it's Remax.
Yeah.
So, broker with Remax. There you go. But the home investors team is really the team,
main-
the
the
people
main
that I work
course.
with, and them and myself. It's the team I want to promote.
Same as me, Saberi Real Estate. That's my brand,
Oh,
and
there
I
you
work
go.
with Remax. But I'm happy to work with Remax. Anyways, so Ali, you said after
I'm
this,
not, apparently. Anyways.
you said after this podcast, you have to go do some work, and you were about to talk about it. I'm like, no, you know what? Just save it for the podcast because people want to know like what an average day work is for a realtor, right? So, speaking from your perspective, what were you about to go do after this?
Well, after this, I normally go door knocking. That's what I did a lot of last year. I primarily did door knocking to prospect for new business. It's an old school way of prospecting, but it certainly works, and it's something I like doing and I'm comfortable with. So, given COVID-19 and the pandemic and social distancing and all of that stuff, obviously, it's not the right time to go door knocking.
Can be a little risky for sure.
Yeah. Despite you can knock on a door and step away 6, 7, 10 feet even, and still be able to have a conversation with the homeowner, but they just don't feel comfortable. It's like, what are you doing here? This is, everyone is supposed to be socially isolating, and
For sure.
you shouldn't be walking around, especially.
Are you gonna do it with a mask?
Well, at this point, I haven't started door knocking quite yet. What I will be doing is I drafted letters for people I had been in contact with last year,
Yeah.
and essentially, I've drafted the letters, and I'm just gonna drop those off
In the mailbox.
in the mailbox,
Yeah.
as well as one of our flyers, in order to kind of get that conversation started again.
Yeah.
And then depending if they reach out to me or whatnot, or maybe I'll give it another week or so. With phase 2 rolling out, I want to see how open people are, and then perhaps go door knocking, and having a mask on and gloves perhaps even, and then making my rounds. But how about you? Are you door knocking?
I'm actually doing the exact same thing as you
Okay.
in terms of delivering not even flyers but letters.
Right.
I've been writing personalized letters in certain properties in a certain community to give out. But unlike you, though, these are not people that I have talked to before or have any rapport with in any sort of way.
Oh, okay.
These are just people I'm basically canvassing, right? I'm fishing
Right.
for potential interest. So I'm just writing, instead of going to the door, knocking, saying, introducing myself and all that, which is, in my opinion, not so safe right now. Instead of doing that, I'm writing letters to them, personalized letters, and delivering those letters, right?
Right.
So, but it's pretty much what you're doing.
And
right?
how long have you been doing that for now?
About, I would say, a month.
And any results from that?
No, to be fair, I've only given out about 20 letters.
Okay,
thus far.
gotcha.
Because we're not just handing out, look, I'm not saying that's what you're doing, but we're not just handing out letters to every house. We're looking for specific type.
Right.
And when I say
Yeah.
we, I'm saying me and my father, who I worked with. We're looking for a specific property type, and then we're just targeting. And not only are we looking for a specific property type, we're looking for a specific type of owner that
Right.
owns that property. So we're just, which kind of reduces the amount of properties we can hit.
Right. Yeah.
Limits
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we've been doing that. Unfortunately, I have not cold called. Have you cold called?
I tried last year.
Really? You haven't done it since last year?
I'm not, like, I've tried cold calling. I'm not the biggest fan of cold calling. Maybe it's because I'm just not good at it yet. But
You have a sexy voice. I'm surprised.
All right, thank you.
It's not me saying it. It's not me saying it.
I haven't heard anyone else say that, especially clients. Well, I mean, like, I've heard other people say that, just not clients yet. And I'm not sure how well that'll convert when I.
Don't get me wrong.
To sell
You sound like a bad person from your voice, but it's a good deep voice. But yeah.
Okay.
Not to compliment you too much. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
Like, yes.
So, but you're not the biggest fan of it, I assume, because it's harder to establish some sort of connection over the phone.
Right. And, I think people like to see who they're talking to. Like, I mean, there's successful people at cold call.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Right? There's a lot of successful people that cold call. They call all the time, hours per day. And they do quite well with it. Everyone has their own thing. Like, I mean, some people are very good with online leads and how to convert them.
Yeah.
I've done online leads before with my previous brokerage. We did like 90% of our business with online leads. But it takes a lot of money to get into online leads and start, generating
once again,
those leads
but to
and
be fair,
converting them.
that's different than cold calling.
Absolutely. I'm not saying that it's the same. I'm just saying that everyone has their own thing. Some people do cold calling, some people do door knocking, some do online leads. Essentially, most of these are all cold leads or cold sales strategies, right? And then a lot of people that have been in business for much longer, at this point, they don't require to prospect anymore. A lot of their business is repeat and referral.
Referral business.
I'm sure your dad does a lot of repeat and referral business. He's been in business for quite a while, and he's got a pretty big network of clients.
Yeah.
Brian within our team and Moran, they both have a lot of their business is repeat and referral through their network. So you just really got to build that to get to that point. But at some point, like Brian did a lot of door knocking. That's
you have to.
his primary sources of business. He enjoyed door knocking and also open houses. Some people are great at doing open houses. Not one of my strong suits. I don't know why. But I've never been a big fan of open houses.
What do you mean not one of your strong suits? Like, what result are you not getting which is leading you to believe that it's not one of your strong suits? Because in my opinion,
well, it's not that it's a strong suit. Sorry, I shouldn't say that. My primary objective usually when doing an open house is to sell that property. And so my follow-up game is not that strong. Let's put it that way when it comes to open houses. Yeah. Just because, some of my open houses, I've had so many people in there that it's hard to remember who's who and whom I should follow up with. So I guess it's my follow-up that is a bit weak when it comes to open houses. I think there's a lot of neighbors that just come just to check out the property. Yeah. And I've now kind of changed my strategy where I don't actually do an open house in the first 2 weeks of the property. I'll leave that for my listing presentations. If you want to know more about that, I'll explain it there. But I do open houses after the first 2 weeks have gone by.
I remember I did a lot of open houses when I was newer, and I actually enjoyed them because it's like a combination of hot. Oh, I don't know if hot and cold is the right way to put it, but it's almost a combination of cold calling and door knocking, in a sense where you do have that, you do establish that personal rapport.
Yeah.
When they're in the property, you get to walk them around, you get to talk to them a bit, right?
Yeah.
And then afterwards, you have to follow up, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes they don't remember exactly the conversation you had, or they're not in the same mood as they were before.
Right.
So I actually enjoyed it. I enjoyed telling people about the house. I enjoyed showing people around the house. To be fair, the house I was working with was a very, very high-end property, right? And there was a lot to talk about. But yeah, I enjoyed it.
Well, no, that's good. I mean, I'm not saying I don't enjoy open houses, the ones that I do, but I don't know. I guess I just need to revisit that and maybe change my approach to it. But I don't know how we got to open house. Oh, prospecting.
Yeah, we're just talking.
Opportunities, yeah. Anyways, open houses, they're good. A lot of people are successful with them. I haven't been too successful. Maybe that's why I don't like them a whole lot.
Well, it's hard to be. It's
But
hard
for
to
me,
sell
like,
a house from an open house.
Right,
It's kind of difficult.
right. And that's why, I mean, people use it as an opportunity to generate more leads.
Generate more leads and it's and like kind of build on your skills of communicating with people.
Yeah.
You know, if you walk people around the house to try to tell them about it and you're not good at it, you know,
It's not that. I don't know.
I'm not saying that's your problem.
I haven't been able to convert a whole lot of people into clients from open houses. I'm just better at door knocking for some reason.
But here's the thing. I think that's the wrong way to look at open houses. Obviously, yes, the end goal is ideally to sell the property, establish more new leads, but you just built the skill to highlight areas of the property and talk about and sell a property. You build that skill to market a property through your words and through your conversations. You got what I'm saying? That's an important skill to have as a realtor. And it's a very in my opinion, it's a very transferable skill, because if you have a 2-hour open house and you get a decent amount of foot traffic, people coming through the property, you talk to different people and you have to read their moods and how they are. And if some people don't even want you to like walk around with them. They're like, okay, let me just see the property for myself. Give me some space, right? I think that is an open house is a very good way of establishing, reading people, and once again, highlighting certain aspects of a property that are not that obvious to the end user or the typical person. So I go into open houses, and to be fair, I haven't done one in a while, but I went
because they're illegal at this point in time.
Yeah. Well, even before
nobody's done an open house in a long time.
But I saw it as a good opportunity to build those skills and just teach yourself how to communicate and be a better salesperson. Versus,
sure.
I didn't see the angle as being, obviously, yes, if I sell this house or if we get an offer because of the open house, that's even a victory for me. But I didn't see it as me losing out because those things didn't happen.
Right.
Yeah, but so you're going door knocking after this, or handing out
dropping
letters,
personalized letters to.
Oh, it's personalized now. After I said it, my letters were personalized.
Well, no, like I said, these are people that I've contacted with last year. So why wouldn't it be personalized? I'm just like, dear homeowner. Because when somebody I talked to last year, I'm not gonna send out a dear homeowner letter.
Do you know why I'm joking about that? Because when you first said it, you never said personalized. You just said, I'm handing out letters. And then you asked me what I was doing. And I said, oh, I'm doing a similar thing. I'm handing out personalized letters. So now you added the personalized.
Yeah, but I think you may have missed the point where I said there was people that I contacted with last year that I spoke with, and I'm giving them letters. Okay, so I'll take out the personalized.
No, I'm just joking around, man.
I'm handing out letters to
you
people I've contacted.
Me, it's fine. You can steal from me. It's fine.
You're absurd. You know that, right?
Of course, yeah. So I thought one thing we could talk about, and one thing that really got on my nerves today was a friend of mine. He knows I'm in real estate. Right?
Tell me. Okay.
And he knows I'm in real estate, and he sends me videos of Grant Cardone. And he argues with me often about, why do you have a license? You don't need a license. You know, Grant Cardone says you could make a lot of money in real estate,
right,
without a license.
Of course.
So before I go off on this topic, I want to know what is, and no pressure, whatever your honest opinion is.
This is a Dr. Phil session.
What is your opinion on Grant Cardone? What is your opinion on Grant Cardone? What is your opinion on that whole industry? Those type of people who tell you don't need a license, or how to make money on real estate or passive income. They just push becoming wealthy, all that. Those online social media, YouTube personalities. I'm introducing it in a negative fashion.
Right.
Like, I'm not being fair. Grant Cardone is somewhat idiosyncratic. He's different than other people, but generally speaking, before we get to specifics, what do you think about those type of individuals?
Listen, well, I mean, they're obviously successful, right? Then
Are
again,
they?
not obvious, because I don't really know what their net worth is or how much money they've made. Grant Cardone comes across as he's a very successful individual and he's made millions or billions of dollars in real estate. Now let's go with that assumption that he has. Excellent.
Let's go.
Good
Let's
for
go.
you,
Let's
right?
go.
I've seen his 10 times rule and he's got these huge seminars and stuff like that. So obviously he's making quite a bit of money, if not just from real estate, from putting together these seminars, because he's filling a lot of banquet halls or stadiums or whatever with his, like the 10 times. He came up with the 10-time rule. I don't know if you're, but he's filling a lot of, let's go with stadiums of people that are willing to sign up to those events, pay a lot of money and listen to what he has to say. So from that alone, he's making a lot of money.
Do you think he makes more money from? My suspicion is
He makes more money from that than he
from
probably,
actual real estate investing.
at this. Well, I think
And here's the thing.
he's
To be fair,
probably
sorry.
established his wealth from real estate investing.
To be fair, I'm not concretely sure on that, right? So I could be very much so mistaken.
Is
So,
your friend subscribing to Grant Cardone?
bro,
Is he a
my
paid
friend is paying like $300 to like fly out to these conferences. Not $300 just to fly out, but like he's just paying a lot of money. He's just past the point of subscribing on them and getting his courses. He actually goes to the conferences. He
And is he a millionaire yet?
no,
How long has he been doing this?
like a year and a half.
Why isn't he a millionaire? The Grant Cardone system is
Well,
like
that's
an
what I'm
overnight
asking you.
success.
Okay, so
So here's my let me finish what I was going to say.
yeah.
So let's assume they're successful. And yeah, you know what? You can make a lot of money without getting a real estate license in real estate. However, just like Grant Cardone, you probably do need a real estate agent to help you source quality properties that you want to invest in.
And here's the thing: if
And
you
Grant Cardone guaranteed either in the past has used a real estate agent or continues to use a real estate agent.
But here's the thing, just to interrupt quickly.
So-
You're actually, I think you're brushing over something that yes, you can make a lot of money
Sure.
in real estate without a realtor.
What am I brushing over?
You're brushing over the fact that you need a whole ton of equity to start with in order to make a lot. You need a lot of money, to make a lot of money as an investor, you need to start with a good sum amount.
Yes, but not necessarily either, right? Like, I mean, you can build your portfolio over a long period of time.
Over a long
Like
period
right
of
now,
time,
if you
for
don't have
sure.
a lot of money, you can go to Windsor and buy a condo for $150,000, $200,000, rent it out, and that's the start of your portfolio. Buy another property in Windsor,
For
and then
sure.
a third and a
But-
fourth, and then cash out of those, and then come to Toronto and buy something else, or in the GTA. Or you can continue to build your portfolio of
Property, you could even be a
of
property
properties,
management.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
build it up that way. So in GTA, yeah, you're gonna need a decent amount of cash to start off with your first property to buy, and then build from there. But if you want to reach Grant Cardone's level from the get-go, you're gonna need a rich dad or a whole bunch of investors that are going to give you the capital to start buying up properties like that. Yeah. So whoever subscribes to that and thinks that they can do it overnight with no cash is absolutely foolish. It's
Exactly. That's my
ridiculous.
point. That's why you can become rich from real estate investing.
Yeah.
But you still have to start with at least a medium level of wealth. You can't unless you are really good at getting investors.
Right.
Like even a condo.
Depends on the market, but
Yeah, obviously everything else being equal.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can't become a wealthy individual through investing in real estate.
right.
You can't, and you can become uber rich investing
Yeah.
in real estate. Chances are you probably will not. Chances are that you are 1 in 10,000. I'm talking about the uber rich level. I think a lot of people can establish a good amount of wealth investing in real estate.
Right.
Like a good, comfortable, above middle class, lower.
Subjective, yeah, but like I mean, people can 150,000 for them could be above average and be comfortable off of that.
I think people can make in the 500s and 600s and
Right.
I think that's not 1 in 10,000, but to be a 15, to make 15 million, all that, I just don't, you shouldn't be aiming for that, in my personal opinion. And the dream that Grant Cardone sells you in with those goals is highly, highly misleading.
Well, here's the thing. He's selling you a dream.
Exactly.
And people are buying the dream,
Okay, so
they're not executing on their dream. They're just buying into it, right? There's a huge difference between actually executing on it and actually doing it and buying into it.
You're definitely, he doesn't even say what he doesn't even know. I bet you he doesn't even know what a cap rate is.
No.
I bet you he has no idea what a cap rate is.
Well, for sure he does.
No, you think he does?
Grant Cardone?
You think he knows what a cap rate?
He does.
Really?
A cap rate.
He just seems so very dumb to me when he speaks.
Because here's the thing, though. What you're misunderstanding, I think, what you're not getting is that he's perhaps selling to that audience. He has to dumb things down for people to understand, right? I think he's a pretty intelligent person.
He has to be somewhat intelligent. You're right.
Here's the thing: it's selling. He's selling. It's a strategy. It's conveying a message in a certain way for the masses to understand and want to buy into the program, right? On the flip side, there's somebody else that speaks very sophisticated, and he targets a whole different kind of demographic.
Who?
Dan Locke. Like, I watch his videos.
The Asian guy. Yeah.
Yeah, he's based out of Vancouver, if I'm not mistaken. But his
more
form
on
of speaking, his message is a lot more sophisticated. It's different, and he's also selling a different product. And then you have, Grant Cardone. You have Gary Vaynerchuk.
He's okay. He's
that
good.
guy. His message is like he's a very smart guy, but he doesn't care to sell it in a certain way. He just speaks his mind right off the top of his dome. And so that's why I kind of respect and appreciate that guy, is that he's not really selling you anything. He doesn't have a program or anything to sell you. He's just telling you to go out there and do shit, right?
Well, here's the thing about, let me first touch on.
His clients are corporations.
Let me first touch on Dan Locke. He does not teaching you how to become rich. He's actually, his content, his information is more geared towards us than people who want to become rich. He's more of a teacher of salespeople, how to become a better salesman.
Right.
So
how
we
to
are more of it.
All of that.
We are better. We're more so in his target demographic. Whereas Grant Cardone, he's talking to the average person. He's not saying, "Oh, this is what you do to become a better salesperson."
But
he might have a video, and
he targets real estate agents. I've seen plenty of real estate agents at his events.
I'm saying he might have a video here and there for that. No, he's targeting real estate agents for. He's not targeting real estate agents because they're real estate agents.
No, right.
He's targeting real estate agents because real estate agents happen to be some of the people who want to become rich through investing in real estate.
No, right.
Whereas people like Dan Locke and other gurus of they target salespeople because they're salespeople. Most of his videos are about how to lock down a client, or how certain things you have to do, and the way you have to speak to people. So I'm just making that differentiation.
I get that, but the point is they all have a demographic, they all have a target audience, and they sell their product or their service in a certain way. Grant Cardone, his language and his way of selling is, you just got to do this and you got to do that. You got to make the calls. You got to be like this, blah, 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 blah. And it's very simplified.
Yeah.
Dan Locke is a lot more sophisticated in his sales approach and his communication. They have different styles of communicating and selling their service, their product. Gary Vaynerchuk isn't selling anything, so he doesn't care whether you like it or not. Right? Tony Robbins,
he's selling more
he's
so
selling
motivation.
his seminars and personal development, all of that stuff, and he's got a different communication style and sales technique. So they all have something else to sell, and they all do it in a certain way.
For sure.
But getting back to Grant Cardone, he's used a real estate agent.
For sure he has. Absolutely.
He still continues to use real estate agents.
And he probably has a whole entire team of financial experts and accountants.
And real estate agents.
And marketing experts and real estate people who are... Yeah, exactly. I'm telling you, it's not just him. I'm telling you, he's at a level where he can hire people to think for him. And all he has to do is turn on the camera and talk to the camera. That's all he has to do. And
so, long story short, Sam's friend... You need to still hire him to help you buy real estate.
But that's not... You're mistaking the purposes of this. I'm telling people I'm worried that people are going to assume that they can just make money from real estate through Grant Cardone's courses and all that, paying other people. All this information is for free. Right. And I really haven't gotten off my chest with why I think people like Grant Cardone are idiots.
You think he's an idiot?
He might not be an idiot in the sense that he's not smart, right? Mm-hmm. He's definitely wrong either knowingly or unknowingly about a lot of things. And people in his circle, I don't mean people who work for him, but people who
subscribe to his stuff.
Are in that orbit, yeah. So before I explain why I think he is an idiot, or rather not, that's the wrong term, I guess. He's wrong about one thing. I have to preface that it really comes down to one concept that he's really mistaken about. Anyways, we had some technical difficulties. We're back now. As I was saying, my problem with the idea and the concept of passive income
You're wrong.
is, well, let me finish. My idea, or rather the problem I have with the idea, is that within the context of real estate investing, it can't be fruitful insofar as you can make passive income in real estate, but it only applies to, I would say, about 20 to 30% of the population, whether they're professional investors or homeowners who invest on the side, whatever the degree or, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, well, what do you mean homeowners that invest on the side?
Well, there are individuals who are professional investors. So their whole entire main occupation is real estate investing.
That's income. That's no longer investing. If that's your principal income,
yeah, but they still call them.
That's not passive investment. That's not passive income.
No, it is still passive income.
It's not.
No, people who push
passive income. Well,
okay, the people who push the idea of passive income, they say, "Oh, you can get rich by passive income." These are the Grant Cardone types we're talking about. So let's
Grant Cardone.
No, those types that we were just talking about, Grant Cardone and the Ty Lopez's, who say you quit your job, live on a beach, just make money by passive income, whatever their source is, online marketing or online
stocks,
so a lot of
that
real
is
estate.
bullshit.
Let me just give me about 5 minutes.
Okay.
Let me make my case. So my case against passive income is this in real estate, to be specific. My case against passive income in real estate is this. It's a two-headed attack I have on it. On a very basic level, any income you make from real estate investing, I don't think it can be called passive income. So that's just on a basic definitional and logical level here. That assuming for now that you can make a substantial amount of money from real estate investing and real estate income, or rather income derived from real estate, assuming that's true, it can't be called passive income because at a base level, unless you incorporate, you are on the title. Your name is on the certificate or the instrument by which your ownership is verified. Thus, you are very much so actively involved in the business enterprise, which in this case would be a property, whether it be a condo or a house, whatever it may be. So that's at a base level. That's my first problem. But let's just say, oh, Sam, you're being semantic. You're playing semantics. You're being far too pedantic, and you're just playing with words. Yeah.
What does that one mean?
It means when you're just overly focused on small details that are irrelevant. But anyways.
Wow.
Yes. So that's on it. But okay. So if you say that, and let me accept it for the sake of argument, on a second level, more secondary derivative level, my problem is that, let's call it passive income. It does not apply to 80% of the people, or maybe 70%, whatever you want to put the percentage. The majority of people who invest in real estate, at best, they make a very negligible profit. Most likely, if they're lucky and they, invest wisely, they will break even on the passive income, which is the rental income. Where they make their true money is in the appreciation and the sale, the proceeds that come from the sale of the property, right? So it's not the passive income making you rich. So before I hand it back to Ali, let me just reiterate two problems. Problem number one, logically, it cannot be called passive because legally, financially, you're at you're responsible for this investment and you're involved. And on my second problem is, even if we call it passive income, it does not make you rich. Or for 80% of the population, that's not the case. For them, if they only put 10 to 20% down, they'll break even on the passive income. Where they will truly make their money is the appreciation of the actual property. So Ali, what do you have to say to that?
Okay, so I'm going to go in reverse order here. With respect to how much money they make, I don't know if that's even something that should be a consideration of whether it's passive income or not. Whether they make $1, $100, $1,000 a month, it's still passive income. It's still income, right? Now, if they're carrying a loss, then that potential passive income, obviously there's no income there, and they're at a loss. The monthly revenue is at a loss, so they have to carry the investment. But in any event, that doesn't mean that they cannot realize a passive income from that investment. So in that sense, I don't know what you're trying to say, how much money they're making or how much they're not making. That's kind of irrelevant. The fact that they can make a passive income from it, that's what the root of it is. Now, I agree with you that most people, if they are buying a condo downtown and at the current moments, they probably will not make money unless they're putting down more than 20%, because after the mortgage fees, the condo fees that they have to pay for, and property taxes, with anything less than 20%, the current rents downtown will probably not cover those expenses. So they'll have to carry the property for maybe a year or 2 years before the rents go up and they have enough equity where the mortgage payments come down. And then they can start making, whether it's $50 or $100 or $200 a month, they can start making a passive income. Now, the reason why it's passive is that they're not there. It's not a full-time job for them. They're still going to their 9-to-5 job.
So now you're addressing the first problem.
Right. So I'm making my way there. So, before I get my way there, I do think that they can make a little bit of money, but most people that invest in real estate, unless they have multiple properties that they're doing this with, will make their money from the capital gains. Once they offload that property, they get the profits out of that property and whatever appreciation that is in it. That's how they're making money. Now, there's a couple of ways where it does become passive income, especially if you're renting it out. You're making the rental income, and let's say that it's cash flow positive and you're making $100, $200 a month. In addition to that, your tenant is paying down your mortgage. That's another way in which you're making income, which you're making money from that property. So not only are you potentially making are you cash flow positive, $100, $200 a month, where you're making money from that, your tenant is paying down your mortgage. So they're putting equity into your property. And 3, the appreciation of that property. If it's worth $550 today and in 2 years it's worth $650, there's appreciation in the market in what that property is worth. So you paid $550 for it today. In 2 years, your tenant has paid on $50,000 of your mortgage. So you have $50,000 in equity that you didn't put in yourself. Your tenant put it in for you. You're making $100 of cash flow positive income every month. And the market is appreciated by $100,000. You've now made income in 3 different ways without you going to that place and working for it 9 to 5. And that's why it's passive income.
Okay, so
it's an investment that without you requiring to be there every single day is a passive income.
Okay.
Now, with regards to legal ownership of the property, I don't know how that makes any difference of whether that's passive or not. Because as a stock, if you invest in stocks, you get certificates of stock ownership.
Yeah.
You can vote. That still makes you an owner of that company.
It makes you
a owner. Stock. You're holding shares.
Let me address that.
So wait. So let me finish my thought though. You're still an owner. You may not be 100% like the owner of everything.
Yeah.
But you're still an owner of that company. It's through the means of shares.
Yeah.
Now, the same thing, in my opinion, you have a legal document that gives you ownership of a company. You have a legal document that gives you ownership over that land or that real estate property. So in either event, you're an owner of the property. Now, whether you're there, the reason why it's passive is that you're not working at it 9 to 5 every single day.
Okay,
You
so
have your full-time job, or you have whatever it is. You could be a doctor. You're going to your office. You could be this or that. It doesn't matter what your job is. Your regular job is A, and you're putting the income you have from your regular A job, and you're putting it in investment B, and you're letting that do its thing. And whatever money or profit you're making from that, that's your passive income. That's where you're getting. And that's why it's passive, because you're not doing it every single day. You're just letting it do its thing because you invested in it. And likewise with stocks. You can have dividend income from that stock, or you can sell it and make your capital appreciation. You can make your capital gains, and off you go to the next stock. And you can do that with real estate. Off you go to the next property. And so that's why I don't agree with you. I think it is passive income, whether you're doing it with one property or 10 properties.
Okay, so let me address those points.
Sure.
First off, in terms of, you said, well, why does it matter if you are operating at a loss, breaking even, or making a profit? At the end of the day, that's irrelevant to the fact that it is passive income. It is income, right? That's
Right.
what you said.
Or it has the potential of making income. If you're carrying a loss, and you're carrying a loss, you're not making an income. But in any event, it's passive is the point.
My point is, my initial argument was that it's people who, like Grant Cardone, who are these gurus who push the idea of passive income makes you rich, push the idea of passive income from real estate makes you rich, rental income makes you rich. That was the attack I was that was my
in
attack.
Theory, he's not wrong.
Let me finish. In theory, there's a lot of things that are true in theory but false in practice, right? In practice, it's not the case that for the majority of the people who can only put 10 to 15% down, maybe 20 best case scenario, it's not true that they will become rich from passive income. What can potentially make them rich or more wealthy than they are right now, whoever they are, is the appreciation and, as a result, the proceeds from sale once they sell the property. That is the meat and potatoes. The passive income is only an instrument for most people to help them operate at either negligible profit or breaking even.
Okay, but hold on. What was the argument? That's not what my understanding what the argument was.
No.
Or
So,
what you were saying.
So let me just read.
You're saying that investing in real estate and making that income is not passive income because you're still actively involved.
No, that was my first argument. I was
Right.
saying at a baser logical level.
Well, I've already I put that to rest.
No, I didn't even address your.
Put that to rest.
I didn't even address your
and
points.
as for Cardone, he's selling a dream.
That's my exact point.
But
So
there's no
thanks for-
argument there. Yeah.
Okay. There's no argument. So we agree.
You can theoretically make that money if you have enough money to make that, or over a couple of years you accumulate a second or third property, and you're making $100 or $200 from that, and eventually that just snowballs.
Okay.
So his theory is not everyone knows this. It's not like something new. There's been many people that have been selling this dream for decades and decades. I just don't think. I just think people are falling. They're just getting suckered into the dream that he's trying to sell to them now.
Yeah. My point is though. Okay. So we agree. Yes. At the end of the day, we agree. It's a dream. It has theoretically passive income makes you rich, and in practice, passive income can make you rich because a lot of investors, they're professional investors, they're bigger investors, they can afford to put a lot of money down, right? My point is that it is a dream for the majority of people. Passive income should not be looked at as the means by which you get rich. It should be looked at as by the means which you operate your business, your investment property at a point where you're breaking even, right? I'm just saying. All I'm saying is rental income should be looked at more so as an instrument to help you break even before you sell your property. That's it. So we agree that passive income does not make most people rich. It's a dream, and he's selling a dream. So let me move on to the initial point.
This is the reality. Don't really fall prey to the dream that he's selling.
Yes,
eventually
that's what I'm
you
saying.
can get to that, but this is the reality.
Yes.
With 20% down.
Yes. Okay. 20 or less. Okay. So the initial point, I think, is where we have the biggest and largest disagreement. Where definitionally, I don't think you could call passive. You can't call rental income or any sort of revenue derived from real estate a passive exercise. You mentioned that stocks are much like home ownership, right? Wherein
I didn't say they're much like exactly the same, but
But
they have similarities.
as
They're both investments.
insofar your argument was to the effect that, well, no, it is not the case just because you're legally involved with ownership that it makes it not passive. Because look at stocks. Right. Stocks, you're legally involved with the ownership of those shares. As a result, it does not equate to it not being passive, right? Okay. Obviously, yes. When you buy 50 shares of company XYZ, you get some sort of a certificate or document that establishes your ownership of those shares. However, you do not have any liability.
That's not true.
That is true.
You Think about have completely no liabilities.
You don't insofar as you have any liability over the company you invest in through buying the shares, is the liability you have towards yourself and your own finances. And, if it appreciates or it drops in value, if it tanks, that's the only you only have liability towards your own equity.
Still makes a liability.
It is. You don't have any legal liability, any other further financial liabilities. Look at it like this: a homeowner, if the house is on fire, even if they have fire insurance, obviously most people do, right, they're still legally liable. That's why I have the insurance in the first place. They still have to make that insurance claim. It is their property. Mm-hmm. With a company, it's not your company. You just have a couple of shares of a company. Most people, unless you're an institutional owner, which I would say all institutional owners are incorporated. There's no sole proprietor owner of a stock that has 80% of the stocks, owns 80% of the shares of a company. That's non-existent thing.
So before you go on with that, I don't understand the whole fire. Like I'm trying to figure out how you're making that connection.
Let me give you an example.
The roof catches fire. You make an insurance claim.
Yes.
What is your liability there?
Whose name is in the insurance claim or insurance plan you have? Whose name is it under?
Okay.
And then what? Okay is not an answer. I'm asking you a question.
Okay, so say it's in my name.
Yes.
See, I'm sleeping in the house. There's not a thunderstorm, but something electrical goes off in the attic. But you understand,
fire insurance does not protect against arson, right? Like if you self-inflict on arson, if you just light your house on fire.
Let's not talk about arson.
No. My point is, listen. My point is, you're legally liable for the property. Part of that legal liability is, for instance, does the claim you're making, according to your insurance, does it fall under your insurance policy?
Okay, let's say it does.
Okay, do you understand? If you have an investment property and you're renting it out and it catches on fire, potentially the tenants can sue you if someone breaks in, steals their.
That's why you have insurance.
Why do you have insurance? Because to protect dude.
And that's why companies have insurance.
Let me finish. If you did not have any liability, you would not have. There would be no need for insurance. Do you take out insurance for things you don't have any liability in? Now I'm asking you a question. Do you take out insurance for things that have nothing to do with you, that you won't be responsible for? Why do you?
No.
Exactly. Why do people take out fire insurance? It's their property. If they don't have fire insurance, they're screwed. If something happens and they don't have insurance to back them up, they're screwed. They're liable.
Likewise, corporations have insurance as well.
No, but corporations do. But the person buying the shares does not have to take out insurance to buy shares.
Either way, it still affects the shareholder, because if they have a fire, let's say Amazon's warehouse burns down,
the shareholder is not responsible.
Right, but.
Your sentence should just end at rate.
No, it doesn't make sense. What you're making, your connection doesn't really make sense. As a homeowner, I get insurance to protect my asset, right? I get insurance to protect my asset. Now, let's say there's faulty plugs or the wires trip, and then there's a fire in that house. The insurance company sees, okay, this is the cause of the fire. The property's insured. They pay out. Likewise, Amazon has insurance to protect their assets. And as a shareholder, I would force Amazon to get insurance to protect that asset.
This does not make sense.
Of course it makes sense.
No, because you're not seeing that they're not one and the same. There's not a one-for-one equivalency here. In the real estate investing example, it's you, the owner of the property, the owner of the real estate, the object of the investment. You take out insurance. In stocks, the the company takes out insurance, but it's not the case that the shareholder take out insurance. The shareholder, if I'm investing in a company in a let's say a I don't know, a water company,
If the company did not have insurance, the shareholders would have a meeting and say, you need to get insurance in order to protect our asset, which we own.
Okay, what happens if
through our shares?
And if there's no insurance on the property, does anyone have a meeting?
Sorry?
If there's no insurance on the property, does anyone have a meeting? If you as a homeowner decide not to take out insurance, obviously yes, practically would not be approved.
The mortgage wouldn't. The mortgage.
I know. I just said that. that.
Okay.
Practically is different, but we're talking about theoretically. You're saying they're one and the same. I'm telling you, there's a lot of differences in between both.
There's differences, but it doesn't make one any less
You're
passive than the other.
Okay, let me put it like
The
this.
argument, what you're trying to present and compare the two through insurance makes absolutely.
It's not. You're focusing on the insurance. I'm saying it's the liability. You're liable if you invest in a house. You are legally and financially liable for that property. If you invest in a company, you're not legally and financially liable for that company. If you invest in a company that gets sued by people because it's pouring things in the water or it's contaminating the air, you just lose money because the value will plummet.
Well, that's a liability.
You're only liable to yourself,
right?
Insofar as you're liable to yourself at all times, not to walk into a car. Okay, that's a liability too. But we don't. Obviously, you're exaggerating. If you have a liability to yourself, we don't call that a liability. Okay, an external liability. You as a property owner, you're responsible for your property. Whereas as a shareholder, unless you own 40 to 30% of all outstanding shares, you're not responsible for the company.
So tie this into passive income. How one is more passive than the other.
This is a condition that I would say suffices to establish whether something is passive or not.
This is according to your definition?
It's not just my definition. I'm sure a lot of other smart people came to the same
conclusion. I don't care what other smart people say.
Okay, I'm just saying, yes, personally.
Definition? Like what makes it passive income?
If you Google the definition of passive income, right, it says there are different definitions, but the main definition, all the other different definitions have all that dream bullshit that we talked about, where it's not hard work and all that. All definitions, though, have the same thing in common, which is it's something you're not a business enterprise or a business venture that you're not actively involved in.
Right.
You are actively involved in home ownership. It's impossible, unless you buy through a corporation, it's impossible for you to be passively involved in ownership of property. It's impossible. That's it.
It's not impossible.
You can't. How can you logically be involved actively in the ownership of property?
You're focusing on it from the legal perspective.
So it's not passive.
One argument. But
just there and there, it's not passive. That's just, it starts and ends there.
No.
How can something be passive? How can you be involved?
Because you're not working on it actively from 9 to 5. It's not your main source of income. It's passive income on the side. So if I'm a dentist and I go to the office every single day and I work on people's teeth, but then I have 2 other properties that I'm renting out and I don't see my tenants and they pay my rent every single month on time, I may go there to see the property once a year just to do an inspection, or maybe there's a plumbing issue and I send a plumber. That does not make that active income for me. That is passive income because I'm not doing it every single day. That's the entire definition of active and passive income.
That's not.
Sure it is.
If you look at the definition, Google it. Look at the definition of passive income. It says a business enterprise in which you are not actively involved in.
But I just said you're not actively
You
involved
are.
in it.
How are you not actively
By
involved?
checking on the property once a year?
It doesn't matter how
it
does not matter how many times you check up on it, although it is important. I'm saying a necessary condition.
Okay. So when you buy a stock,
do
you not check out on the stock price?
On the price, yes, I do.
Do you not check the financials, what the recent earnings are, what the news are, and all of that stuff? Yes. So by definition, you're working on that stock because you're checking on it to see how it's doing.
I'm not working on that stock.
You may not be working at the company
directly,
but you're researching on the investment that you made, on the stock that you purchased.
You just see how you said you're not working on that company directly.
Right. Likewise, you can see the same thing with the real estate. If you're going to check on the property once a year, other than that, you're just collecting rent checks, That's not active.
Why are you collecting it? You're collecting it because the house is in your name. You're the landlord.
Yeah,
I don't even collect dividends.
Again.
First
We've
off,
already gone past that.
we haven't gone past that because it is impossible for something to be passive when you're legally. This is just going in circles. You just can't understand that. Just starting there, it can't be passive.
I disagree.
Well,
and I think if you were to go ask the rest of the world, they would disagree with you as well.
Okay. Well, I think my definition and my understanding of this case makes way more sense than yours.
I disagree because you are still a legal owner of a corporation through the way of stocks.
You're not.
It makes you legal owner. Do you not?
You are legal owner of shares of a stock.
Exactly.
Or of a company, rather.
So the legal ownership of that stock would then make that active.
So let me ask you this.
That's the definition you're going by.
How do you even define ownership? Can I ask you that? How do you define ownership, generally speaking? Just about anything. A water bottle, ideas. How do you define ownership?
Something in which, A, I can either have direct say in it or I have legal ownership to it.
Okay. Yeah. So do you have
stock? I have legal ownership over it.
I
have ownership over the stocks. That's legal ownership. And then otherwise, if I can have have an influence or decision in the direction of that investment, then that's another means of me owning.
Okay,
something.
so your two requirements for ownership is
not
direct.
Everything has a single definition.
No, I'm just saying not every animal is just to give you an example, logically, not every animal is a mammal, but every animal has to be a living organism. So being a mammal is not a thing that applies to all animals, but being a living organism is. So what is that thing? That's the equivalent of a living organism that applies to all ownership in your mind.
Sorry, I really wasn't paying attention because I was reading the definition of passive income.
I'm saying not all, just an example, not all animals are mammals. Mm. So if I ask you to define an animal and you're like, well, it has to be a mammal, you'd be wrong because some animals are not mammals. But if you said, all animals have to be living organisms. If that's where your definition started, you're still right. So what is that thing that applies to all ownership?
That's essentially what you're saying right now. Let me reverse it on you. You're saying passive income is something you don't have legal ownership over.
I'm just saying that's one of. You're saying. That's one of them. Yeah. No. That is one of them. That's for sure.
So then, if you legally own it, it's no longer passive income.
Yes, if you're if you are legally the owner.
So that's like saying if it's not a mammal or if it's.
But you're not legally owner of a company. Here's the thing.
If it's not a mammal, it's not an animal. Is what you're saying.
You're not legally owner of a company, right? You're legally owner of shares of a company.
So Investopedia is a pretty credible website, and they do a pretty good job at defining terms. Would you agree?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so I Google passive income, and the first is Investopedia, and it says is earnings derived from a rental property, limited partnership, or other enterprise in which a person is not actively involved. Mm-hmm. That's literally the definition.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm saying that definition I think it's illogical to me.
So you disagree with Investopedia's definition.
Yeah, obviously.
That's kind of like saying you disagree with Webster's definition of passive income.
Okay.
If they're one and the same.
No. I don't think it can be passive. Obviously, I'm going against the common consensus here. I don't think it can be passive.
But a common consensus that it's not common. This is like the definition for it. You're essentially saying you don't believe in the definition of passive income.
It's not. Okay, let me just to see if this clear. Can you repeat that definition?
Passive income is earnings derived from a rental property, limited partnership, or other enterprise in which a person is not actively involved.
And I'm saying that definition does not make sense to me.
Okay, so then you have an issue with the definition, which Merriam Webster's and all the other,
dictionaries,
probably Oxford have the same definition. You have an issue with the definition.
That's my whole point. Does that make sense? You can't. I don't think you can be passively involved in real estate ownership.
I think we're done with this argument because you're essentially. That's like saying I don't think a red light is a red light, despite the rest of the world has defined the red light as stop.
Look,
and you're saying the red light is not stop.
No,
I don't believe in that.
If I put forth a good argument for that, which I'm not saying I believe in that, but
I don't think you're putting forth a good argument.
I think I am. You cannot be passively involved in home ownership.
Okay.
This is not.
You
just
should
to
send an
finish this,
email to Oxford and all the other dictionary companies and tell them to change your definition.
You understand dictionary definitions change, right? You know that's a thing.
Yeah, but not like all the time.
Yes. So what's your point about?
Yes, they do change all the time.
No. I'm not saying yes, not all the time. I agree.
And
I'm saying
very rarely, and far in between, they can change, but there has to be substantial reasons and an argument behind it for it to change. And I don't think you've presented enough because I'm sure people have thought.
First off, the only way you can make passive income in real estate ownership is, I think, through incorporating. That's it.
Okay.
That's it. All right. Well, that's our debate. That's our debate there.
Essentially, hold on. Before we
tired.
end this, we are agreeing to disagree.
We're agreeing
and by
to disagree.
disagreeing, you're wrong because you're essentially
wrong.
going
It's
against
fine.
every definition, every credible definition of what passive income is.
So you agree with every single definition of every single thing. You agree?
No,
That's what,
not necessarily.
Okay, then
but I haven't
what are
come
you
across
talking
anything
about?
that I disagree with yet.
So what do you mean no none? Okay, so
Like I can't say right now definitively that I agree with every definition of every term out there in the world.
All right.
That I can't say yes. Have I come across something that I may have not agreed with? Perhaps. That doesn't mean that I wasn't wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still probably wrong, but that may not change. That may not change what I think or my opinion about the subject.
yeah.
And similarly, you obviously haven't changed what you think about what
No, I
passive
haven't.
income is. That doesn't mean that you're not wrong, though.
No, it's not an impossibility that I'm wrong. It's just improbable that I'm wrong. It's not impossible. Sure, I can be wrong.
It's probable, and it's certainly the case.
All right, everyone. Thanks for listening.
You know what? I'd like to hear everyone's feedback and thoughts on
for
this.
sure.
Leave them in the comments down below.
All right.
And then let Sam know that he's wrong.
All right. Thanks for listening. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Fuck, man, it's long.